Real life. So I'm going to be looking this other way because
Okay.
just in case anybody is asking questions.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So I would just be looking here and be answering those questions. 1 second. I'm trying to see. Okay. Yes, real life. Yes, real life. Yeah.
Please ask the host to
Did
give
you
you
hear something?
permission to record. Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. So just in case anyone is asking questions, we'll just ask the questions on air because I know you have. There was something I noticed. I know you have so many fans. Yeah, because I was watching people. Let me start recording to this computer. Yeah, so like I was saying, I noticed that you have so many fans. I was just before even though the flyers came out late, and there's a reason for those flyers coming out late. I always wait for. I don't want to be moved by the spur of the moment. I just want to be. You understand? When the time is right, I just put it out there. So even though we put it out at a very short time, I noticed your fans. I don't know. Let me just stop there. There's a lot of people that have good, even the ones that don't know you. Yeah, because there was a text message I got from one of my bosses here when I came to America. Yeah. So even those that don't know you at all was asking, okay, and that. So outside the people that knows you and people that doesn't know you, I'll just say you have a lot of fans. Let me just leave it
Thank
like
you, God. Thank you, God.
so. So so let me just say a little bit about Funmi. I met Funmi a couple of years ago.
Couple.
Yes, some years ago. Some years ago. Some years ago. It was where it was a multi-organization, but it was a global organization, whatever they call it. So I don't know. Funmi, I hope
Multinational FMCG.
multinational, yeah, FMCG. I don't want to get Funmi angry today, but Funmi was one of those HR guys at the top, if you know what I mean, or guy at the top. So yeah, she was an HR professional, and while she was doing that, she was also an entrepreneur and also a philanthropist. I didn't know then. I didn't know that Funmi was an entrepreneur until I think 1 year or 2 years into the business. That was when I got to know that Funmi was an entrepreneur. And probably she started it before that time that I even got to know her. And this was because there was one IT something something. I had to bring in Paul. She remembers Paul. So that was when I knew that Funmi actually had a business, a thriving business at that. Right? She was working at the Helm of Affairs at the top of her game. She was an HR professional, and she was also doing business. This business was, at that time that I saw it, it was fantastic. Talk less of now, because I know she comes and goes internationally to do business and all that stuff. And being a philanthropist, we were talking yesterday, and I got to know that she's been doing something by herself for the last 9 years. She said it's with friends and family. So there's a lot that she has to say, but without me saying too much based on what I think I know, I'll allow for me just introduce herself. I just wanted to give you guys just a little bit of who Funmi is, because there's more that she has not really shown yet. But just a little bit of what I know about Funmi was what I just gave you in summary. But I'll allow her just introduce herself. So Funmi, welcome to your experience. Exclusive. This is no longer the series anymore. This is the exclusive part where we get exclusive conversations from everybody's wonderful, right? Everybody's wonderful. But this is an exclusive where you get to get into yourself because you understand what this whole thing, you're already doing it. You have Shifumi has a YouTube channel. I actually posted it on my platform. So please follow her and just get to know more of her. So you know what this is all about, right? So hopefully your story would change not just my life, because it has been for a long time, but I know there are a lot of people with the whole thing happening within these few hours. There's a lot of people waiting to listen to you, right? So I'll allow you to introduce yourself first before I start asking any questions. So welcome, Funmi. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much, Obina. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So honored to be here. Obina, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
When I received the invite, when we started talking initially, I was like, okay, obviously I have something, God has put something in my mouth for me to share with everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm honored to be a tool in his hands. When he said something, she's been doing all by herself. It's not all me, it's all been God. And he deserves all the praise.
Yeah.
Not to sound Christianese, but that's actually the gospel truth. You know, when we're growing up and people talk like that, come on, just say it. Let it just, it's okay to give yourself some accolades, but the truth is we're nothing without God. So I'm Funmi Suleman. I don't have a standard way of introducing myself. Sometimes that question throws me off, but I'll give you a few tips and it will help get you to know for whoever is just meeting me for the first time. I'm hoping that by the time I'm done, it will give you a better, a little insight on who I am. Yeah. I'm a 10-year-old deaconess in the Redeemed Christian Church of God. I'm an entrepreneur, like Obina said, full-time entrepreneur now, and I became that by the leading of God. I also have a personal ministry, which started out as an instruction from God. And, I stayed in the place of direction, and it has blossomed to what it is now. I also have, I co-own a fashion retail store. It's actually 9 years old now, but formally on paper registered, but I've been doing that for more than 20 years, from when you travel on holiday from your 32 kg allowances, and then you progress to getting an extra baggage and then an extra, and then you begin to go into it full time and begin to ship boxes and all that. So by the grace of God, I've grown then. I also have a 4-year-old, I co-own a 4-year-old natural hair and body care products with my one of my closest friends. It's called ZA12 Nigeria Limited. We're on most of the social media platforms. My fashion retail store is called F3G1 Nigeria Limited. It's also all the social media platforms, and I have we both have websites as well, thriving websites as well. I think I'll stop for now. Yeah. Middle child.
Yeah.
And that's also part of my ministry, middle child. I'll tell you why later on.
I'm going to ask you about it now. But before I even go, so you have more than one company. You have...
Oh yeah, 2 registered, yes.
Yeah.
So the fashion retail store and the hair and body care products called ZA12. It's actually Zechariah chapter 8 and verse 12.
Whoa.
12 Nigeria Limited. Okay. So we manufacture, we produce hair and body care products from shea butter, African black soap, and natural oils.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually saw that other company somewhere, but yeah, I saw the name. It was very creative. Very creative, but I didn't know it was behind that. I was behind that.
Yeah.
So before I start going deep into some of the questions, so just a bit of a background, because you say you're a middle child. A bit of background, where you grew up, how life started from your young age, you became an HR professional. Yeah, a little bit of...
Okay, from my surname, you see that I have a Muslim background and a polygamous home as well. So we're at plenty. We're plenty. And I'm also an army child. We grew up most of our childhood in the barracks. Okay. And I think when we started becoming too plenty and we started growing, my father didn't take us around as much as he used to, because you're small, just 1 or 2. Okay, let's go here, go this country, go this city. But once we began to grow and we began to get to school, it was going to be unfair to be taking us out of school. very often. And so that's my background. And it was a fun-loving family. My parents have sense of humor, all of them, all three of them. So it was a happy house. My father was very liberal, he would take us, he exposed us. And my mom said he was actually the one that brought her to Lagos, as a younger maiden. So he was very exposed. He grew up in the UK at a very tender age. He was taken to the UK to the army, and he brought that background into taking care of us and bringing us up. Very generous people, my parents. We grew up with, even though, like I said, we were plenty, we still had other people that we called aunties and uncles. And it wasn't until when I grew up later when I found out that most of these people were not even family members of ours. They were just, I'm telling you, they were just people that my dad, would bring into the house, just come and tell him some story or other. And, he just welcomes you, gives you access to his children, ups and downs in that regard. My mom as well, they later separated, but she also continued in that, very, very homely, very family oriented. Most of the values that my mom instilled in us, her kids, we followed them till this very day. She would call, when my siblings and I were all scattered across the globe, she would call everybody every morning without fail, and if she didn't get to hear from you, she would call the other person and ask that person, has that person spoken to you or heard from you lately? Forgetting that she just spoke to that person yesterday, And sometimes she would call you, because my mom was an early bird, even until the very, to the very end. Yeah. She would wake up very early, even after she had retired, she still had a habit. She wasn't, she would wake up. So you would get calls as early as 5, 6, 7, and she'd tell you, oh, I'm so sorry that, you know how it is with me. Let me just call you and how are you? Hope, use an opportunity to pray for you and wish you well and set you on the right path on the day, and, to this day, my siblings and I would do it. The gentlemen and the ladies, everybody reaches out to, how are you? Hope you're well. And we imbibed all those lovely lessons, lifestyles, everyone, all my siblings and I, there isn't anyone who won't say we haven't done something, but it's just like I said, it's how we grew up,
Yeah.
So you come to I had a friend who told me, she would come to my house and the first thing I'll ask you is, have you eaten? What would you like to eat? And she said, your mom, because my mom was a Sabbath. She said, you've so much imbibed your mom's culture that the Igbo people, that's the thing they would do. Once you come into, to receive guests, the first thing they will ask of you is a meal, But for me, it was normal. That was how I grew up. So I didn't know it was culture, or it was just how my mom brought everyone up. You had to have a meal, Yeah.
Oh, so your mom is from Asaba?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. This is the first time. I did not know that.
So when I speak all those Igbo words to you, where do you think they're all coming from?
I thought you were joking, I thought you were joking. Sometimes I just feel you were trying to pull my legs. I didn't know. Oh, wow. And she got married to a Muslim family.
Yoruba.
This is okay. I will leave that. That I will leave that because we had that discussion with one couple like that. Yeah. So we had that, and they really said a lot in terms of how the marriage went and how lovely family, lovely couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go to class for that one.
Yeah. We'll talk about that one later. But how was your childhood like? Was it all rosy? Was it all sweet?
I won't say it was all rosy or all sweet, but I don't know anyone who will tell you that, their entire childhood was all rosy and sweet, My parents separated while I was very young. So from us being one unit, we moved on to go and stay with mom for weekend, a few days when you come back from holiday and all that. And, I don't remember my parents sitting us down and actually telling us that, having that conversation to say, you know what, we are going to be living apart. To this day, I don't remember. If it happened, maybe they spoke to any of my siblings, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I had my own I think I dealt with it in a different way. Even while my parents were together, I wasn't the very loud child. I wasn't the very, my older sister took that personality, very loving. Everybody loved her, very cute, very friendly, very have a nice word. I was more quiet. I was more introverted, even as a child. There's a story I told recently of how my mom told me that when we would have visitors, I think at the time I was born when the marriage had started failing,
Okay.
So my mom's emotions were unspoken. I was absorbing them. She told me that when I cried as a child, I would cry very deeply and very, you would think something, you are dealing with this child. The way I cried, she was like, this child is not crying like a child. But unknown to her, I was soaking up what I was, what she was going through at that time, because, as a child, whatever you see is what you copy, So I was learning the lessons from what I was seeing around me. So I grew up an introverted. So by the time my parents separated, I was full-time introverted. I didn't have much friends. I would be by myself. I had imaginary friends. I would be talking to the air, and this part of the air will have a name. That part of the air will have a name, And I was just that child who was very comfortable in her
skin,
in her own space, and I'm still very much like that as well now, And because I was different, after a while, my sister should tell me, you realize that you're adopted, because you don't behave like us. I didn't even look like my siblings when I was growing up. I was darker, I was small. Everybody started growing very fast. I took time in growing. And my mom told me that she'd take me to the hospital and complain to the doctor, this child is not growing. Doctor, she's, and doctor would look at me, don't worry, it's her system. She's fine. There's nothing wrong with her, But I was so introverted that if we had visitors, I would go and hide behind the curtain. And there was this mom's friend who would come in, one of my mom's very, very good friends, childhood. In fact, they went to they grew up in the same neighborhood together, got married, childhood friends. And so they progressed through life together. And my mom said she would come, Auntie Joy was her name. She would come. And as soon as she came, because I was probably the only child at home because everybody would have gone to play, But I'm with my mom. And she would just start, taking dibs at me, and I would just go and hide behind the curtain, and I'll be there till this auntie left. So one day my mother just got tired of my attitude and called me and said, you're my child, this is your house, someone should feel, as I wasn't up to, I think I was 3, 4, I was a baby. But my mom said she spoke to me, and told me that this is your house, nobody can, make you feel less of, this is your space, don't let anybody intimidate you. That the next time you do that, I'm going to beat you. So the next time this auntie was coming, it was as if I was waiting for this auntie, because my mother had, she had given me a pep talk. I was all charged up as a 4-year-old child. I was all charged up. So, even the way I stood when this auntie came in, and as usual, she was about to enter into her little attacking, and I went off on this woman. I probably wasn't saying much because I was a 4-year-old child. I'm probably babbling in between. But the way I stood, my stance and everything, the auntie was like, make care for me. Because she, of course, like I said, my mom's Auntie Joy. And she's like, look at, the worm has turned. My mom was like, this is my child. My mom was saying, this is my child. Good, yes. So I think from then on, I started finding my voice. I started finding my own place, and I won't say it was all rosy all the way, but those are early lessons I remember my mom telling me that I had to have with her, And even while I was growing much older, my older sister too played a very significant role in encouraging me and, giving me pep talks. And because like I said, because I was an very emotional child, he would do things to me, hurt me, and I would just go and, enter my shell and, and just in a world, a bubble of my own. And she had to talk to me, almost like what my mom did to me when I was, talk to me when I was a baby.
Yeah.
And it helps, And now you can hardly keep me, you can hardly keep me quiet now.
So how did that lead to that event, that interaction with your mom and your elder sister currently?
Okay.
How did that affect your growing in to become an HR professional? The reason why I'm asking that question is, remember when we started, I said you have a lot of fans. And I noticed that most of those people were from where we worked, multinational company where we worked. And even while we were working, there was something I noticed about you. Always trying to make people stand up with their head high. You understand? Whatever they're going through in the business and outside the business. The way you talk to people and interact with people. The way you make them feel comfortable, even when they let's say new joiners, you know what I mean by new joiners, when they come to they start acting like they're trying to get used to the environment. And when they come to you, they start becoming comfortable within that environment because of probably the way you spoke to them and probably the way you ushered them into the company, right? Would you say what your mom did then was what actually affected your being relatable as an HR professional?
HR, I stumbled into HR actually. I didn't, probably we don't have enough time, maybe another time. But for HR, I had just left the bank I used to work with, had just been gazetted by the number one banks of all the countries. I don't want to mention them. Yeah. And so we just, on Friday, we had, everybody was at work. You go home in the evening, Monday morning, you get to work and the organization has been gazetted, all your colleagues are outside, the gates are locked, and, you just become unemployed all of a sudden, no plans, no. So it took me a while to get a job. And I went for a vigil. And everything that happens, you just realize that God just has, if you sit down and you go through your life's journey, you find that God has always been with you all through, even when you never realized that he was there.
That's true.
So I was at home. By this time, I was already irritating my mom at home. No work, nothing, no money. I was still young, but so I think we were just getting into that space. So we were just the fighting was just too much. So I spoke to one of my friends, and I'd like to mention her name, Nkiru Lumide Uju. Then she wasn't married. And I just called her. She called me and we're just chatting, and I was just telling her I just had a fight with my mom. And she just said, you know what, I'm coming to pick you for vigil. There's vigil on Friday. Now this vigil, she had just gotten married then. Now this vigil was for people looking for the fruit of the womb or something. The two main reasons why you will go for this vigil, I did not qualify for them, but I just wanted to leave the house. And my friend obviously saw that, I needed a breather. So where else to go but the presence of God? And on that day, she picked me up and we went to church. So while we were there, we saw a number of mutual friends. So in between the vigil, there's a place you get like 30 minutes to 1 hour break, and then we resume. So while we had the break, all the friends, made a beeline for one another, and we started catching up. And out of everyone, there was 2 other sisters there who also were job hunting. And, so we're just trying to catch up on anything. And one of them said that she did this exam for this multinational, not the one we worked in, and that she did not make it. And the second one said, she was like, I can't imagine, as easy as that test was, I didn't make that test. And the second one said, not only did I not make it, I sat for the test twice. You would think that because I sat for it the first time, I will have an understanding and, pass it. That the 2 times I didn't make it, So while we were talking, she mentioned that her husband was very good friends with one of the HR managers in that organization. Yeah. And her husband happens to be my younger sister's boss, Olake's boss. So I didn't say anything to them because I did the test and I passed. And the reason why I did not progress was because the next level interview, I got the courier came to me a week late. So I never went for it. It was like a no-show, And I remember my auntie, when she came to give us a letter, because it was her address we used, she said to me, you know what, you can still go. You never know what can happen. Just try out. But I never did. I just took the letter, kept it somewhere. And I never threw the letter away. I never tore it. I just kept it.
Yes.
So when the 2 ladies were talking about, them, I did this. I won't tell them. I don't want to make them feel bad. So I got home that night. I sent a text message to my sister. Folake, Debo's friend works in this place, blah, 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 blah. I'll talk to you when I wake up. Mm-hmm. This was Saturday morning, you know. Yeah. By Monday morning, my sister's call is the first phone call I get. At the time they called me, they had already spoken to the gentleman who was in HR of the organization and explained to him my scenario. And the gentleman was waiting for my phone call, you know. So back and forth, I went to the office, and at that time they were not recruiting. They were just doing part-time positions. Right. So I was willing to do it. You know, of course, someone who has been, I think by this time I'd been at home, like, I don't remember 3 or 4 months. I don't remember now. So anything was anything. So I quickly said, yes, I was going to do it. So they put me through some little tests. I, of course, passed the tests. And I started work. I got a letter immediately, you know. So I worked with them for about 3 months, and then a permanent role came open. And the position was a HR position, all right? Where I was working temporarily. And then the permanent role came out. It was a HR position, but in another state in Nigeria, which I was willing to. My mother was like, don't go. My dad, everybody was like, I said, guys, I've been at home for a while. I'm losing my mind. Let me go. And that's how I now went for, I took the job, you know, and that's how come I started doing HR. I want to believe that, yes, my background with my family and my kind of person I am, my personality helped me be the HR person that I was. Because, you know, you only give, you know, you can't give what you don't have. Yeah. You know, and because I was a sensitive person growing up, I tried to put myself in other people's positions. How would you feel if you were the one coming in? So that was how I related with people, you know, and I didn't know that it was a ministry that was budding then. I just felt, oh, you know, just do your best, give your all, you know. And at that time, I started becoming an entrepreneur. And, you know, one of the things the Bible says is, you know, you're faithful in little, then you'll be given more. So I wanted to be found faithful in what I was doing in my 9 to 5, so that my own personal one too would thrive. You know, on days I was sloppy on my job, I would see it replicate with my staff in my business. You know, so it was like very clear night and day that, you know, you're only going to get what you give. So I put my everything, and this was even long before I became a part-time entrepreneur. You know, I just felt, you know, my mom would say, whatever you're doing, what is what doing well. Yeah. You know, so if you're gonna do it, then do it, give it your all. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it for me.
Oh, wow. Before my next question, Bola Lamidi just said a few minutes. Hey, hold on, guys. Bola Lamidi from the Almighty.
Hey, as Ramita hits, I used to call Bola. Bola. My people are asking, people in the factory, Ramita hasn't hit, so they're going to down tools. Bola will be like, why?
Well done, sir. I didn't follow in that joke. So I didn't say anything about anything, sir. So greetings to you, sir, Bola Lamidi. Then on YouTube, I see Lady JMK.
Oh, my sister JMK. Oh, yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Then this my friend from high school. He's just trying to spoil my show, but I won't say anything to him now. Let me just leave him alone. We'll talk about that later. So you said while you were working for the multinational business, I'm trying not to call the name of that because it was a wonderful organization.
Try hard. Oh yeah.
One of the I learned IT today was from the organization. So I really appreciate both the people, relationships there, and what I learned from that business.
You know, when I dropped the flyer, they remembered you. So I said, not webinar from IT. I said, yes. Wow. I said, okay, so make it a reunion. Come on board.
Yeah.
They remembered you.
It's wonderful. When I remember the organization and what I'm doing today, man, it's so many things that added up. There was a reason why I went through that phase. Right. So I just appreciate God for everything. The things, the people, everything. The food in the canteen.
You know, the truth is, I wasn't eating at home. I would come to work with my flask of it was either black tea, because I just found that I was lactose intolerant. So was it that black tea or cocoa? I don't want to mention the name because they're not paying you. Cocoa without milk. So I would have that I have like 2 of it for breakfast. And then I would have lunch much later in the evening, because of work, or I just, lost my appetite or something. And I would go home, I would just go to bed, and for years, I saved money. I'm sure it's part of the things that helped me build my personal business, because I had enough money stacked because I wasn't really eating, apart from I was eating, I was eating office food. Yeah. More. So of course on weekends I didn't used to go to work on weekends. Very rarely, So of course at weekends I'll make food. So they really did have good food, even though we used to complain then. We used to complain. And the portions were wow.
The portions were really big.
Yes.
Those guys tried though. You just exposed both of us now, but those guys tried. Those guys really, really tried. Even when I come to work during the weekends, because sometimes somebody will be done and they'll be like, "Oh, let's fix the weekends." You'll be happy to come because you eat well.
Because you eat well.
Me, I don't have time to cook at home now. I was living alone, so I didn't even have time to cook it. So me and Dami then will just be switching. Sometimes Dami will just come and meet me, or come and meet Dami. You understand? You know how it works. So that's what it is. Oh, thank God that we are here today.
Oh yeah. Well done, guys. Sorry, we can't mention your name. God sees you. God bless you. Thank you.
So there's this guy. He says, "I'm Demola Adelabu." Do you know him?
Yes, I know that name. Oh yes. I worked with him on both platforms, both the old multinational and the one we're talking about.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did he say?
No, he's just saying hi.
He says hello.
This is and there's this other guy, FOK. I don't know. They use a short name.
I don't know FOK is. Sorry, help us.
Yes, he's trying to say hi to you anyways. Your people are plenty. So so your entrepreneur, because you kept talking about why you're working with that multinational, you were also so how did you start your entrepreneurial journey? Did you start when you started while you're working with that multinational? You started way before that time?
I started, I think I started properly in that first multinational that I worked in, because I started to travel as an adult there. Before then, any traveling I did was with my parents and, young girl, young child. But, when I started working, I started traveling on my own. And after the first 2 trips, I would come to work and my colleagues would say, "Why didn't you buy this thing for us now? This is lovely. You would have made money, So they started dropping in the ideas to me that, because I'd never done, I take it back, I had done buying and selling before.
Yeah.
The late Jaya Boderi was a big brother of mine. Stella, he made me and his wife, Stella Damascus, very close. Jaya, yes, was a big brother of mine. And so his cousin's wife was from, I think, Sierra Leone or Senegal, I can't remember. And so she would go, she had this, an ailing mom then. So she was going home very, very often. And when she came back, she would come with all those kentes and all those our African prints, the original was authentic, lovely. She had an eye for lovely colors, And so he spoke to her and told her that at that time I was working for Ego Boyo. I don't know. I'm sorry if you see that I'm dropping. I'm sorry as if I'm dropping names, but I really like to appreciate people who help me in my journey. I really, really, everyone here, I remember them with so much love and gratitude, honestly. So I was working with Ego. I had just finished, I worked with her as a copper, and then she retained me. I worked with her for like another 2 years, but I felt I needed something more. I didn't see myself in the movie industry. So I felt I wanted something corporate. So that's when I left her and went to work in the bank. Yeah. So, but while I was working with her, that's when I started doing this binance. So Jai introduced me to his cousin-in-law, his cousin's wife. And, she would give me material and I would resell and, give the money back to her. Everything was on credit because I was young and I didn't have money. I was just starting off. So he kind of stood like a shorty. And because she knew me, because they were staying together, so I would come very often and just stay in the house and be there all day with Stella and Jai, and we chat and go out, or whatever it is. I was just a little sister. Yeah. But it was after Jai passed on, I realized that I was actually older than Jai. But because he was, of course, bigger and, he started life earlier, there was things I was still learning from him. But, it was as if we had I was older than him, but our relationship was younger sister to older brother, if you get what I mean. Yeah. So, and that's how I started, building my finances. So much that even Ego bought from me, she came and picked a number of things. Joke Silva, Funlola Ofi. That's how I met all these people now that are my friends till tomorrow. Funlola Ofi, Ebi, all of them, they were, of course, movie industry, like I said. So they would come and do stuff in the studio, or they were coming to do stuff for a movie, So I got to meet them. Oh, lovely, and speak well, and, and that's how relationship started. So that's how I started doing the buying and selling. So when I now went into the bank, I didn't do much because banking, and I was in treasury marketing. So it didn't give me a chance to do much of selling, but until I now started in this first multinational. So when I would come back, and I had an eye for color, I could piece things together, I could jazz it up and all that. And people would see me and say, oh, this is lovely. Why didn't you, so when the why didn't yous became too many, the next trip I did, I started buying. So I would either go and say, okay, I'm going, So who could give me money would give me money when I was traveling. Who couldn't would send me money, or who, for those who really, really couldn't, because of maybe some of us that were dependent on 9 to 5, I had the assurance that when I returned back, come end of month, once salaries hit, you would pay me. So that's how I started buying, like I said, from my 32 kg, 2 suitcases. And in that way, I'll buy stuff for myself, buy stuff for my family, then of course, buy stuff for sale. So I started from small until people started, getting wind of it, that she buys. And I started buying for people's spouses as well. Oh, wow. I'm telling you, such that even when I was now in Ogba, in the second multinational, we were having leadership meeting. Once the meeting is over, one of the leaders will just walk up to me and just say, hold on, call his wife, hand the phone over to the wife and say, give her your sizes, and ask me to replicate everything I was wearing, from my clothes down to my shoes. Whoa. So I'm telling you, so my colleagues were the major people that really helped push me in the direction. God used them to push me to start my fashion retail business. And I think, of course, I know that I went to pray about it, and God told me, yes, So even the name and everything, God just gave me direction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So would you say it was because of your relationship? I know God was involved, but would you say
relationships are very key, very key. Who you have around you, who you surround yourself with, who you learn from, who you are feeding from, who you are taking information from, really, really goes a long way into shaping you as an individual, your values, and then what happens around you. So if you're surrounding yourself with the right people, people that, God sends, people that would tell you the truth, and have, share with you nuggets from the Lord, and encourage you to build a relationship with God, you will definitely go on the right track. I remember there was a day I was coming back I was at lunch, and I was either going to lunch, and Dare and a few people, Dare, Olateju, were all coming back. So we met at the corridor, and they said to me that we just finished talking about you at lunch. They were coming out of the canteen. I was going in. And your talent is wasted here. Yeah. Everything you wear is lovely. Both, corporate wear, African wear, everything I wear. So they actually had a conversation about Funmi Suleman at lunch. And they were like, this girl's talent is wasted. He told me, go out. Go and get a shop. I remember Ben Jato, to one of my friends in Ogba. He said to me, Funmi, go and get a shop. We will come and follow you. We'll patronize you. So after work, all those guys, they will come from, the lines in the evening, because I was very conscious I was HR. Yeah. So they will come from the lines, and they'll come and converge at my booth. Yeah. And they will buy things from my booth. Nkiro Borucci, all of them, Shola, all those corporate relations ladies, Pal, Osmoku. I would take them for lunch to my house, because I was living close by. We would have lunch in my house. They would do their shopping at mine, and take back. And so when I started growing and growing, and people were telling me, and of course, I was getting the leading from God to open a store. I had to go meet. I met two people. I met the head of HR, HR director. That was Ifeoma Mafeni at that time, and I met this gentleman, this the gentleman that took over Shobowale.
Shobowale. It's the lawyer, right?
The lawyer, yes. So I met the two of them, and I said to them, that conflict of interest form, and he was like, "There's no conflict of interest, one, because I'm not selling what we are manufacturing, and I'm not doing it at office hours. I'm doing it afterwards, And he became one of my very, very good customers as well.
Whoa!
I'm telling you, he became one of my very good customers. And then when I spoke to Ifeoma was like, "Yeah, no problem." She tried to encourage me not to open a store because she was thinking in her own, and she didn't mean bad. Her thoughts were overheads, renting a store, staff, and all that. But I knew where I was going. I wanted to leave a legacy. I didn't just want to buy and sell. I wanted to open a store and maybe get a chain and pass it on to the ones after me and all that. So I took the good advice that she gave me, but I knew that I was going to definitely go on to having a store.
Yeah. The lawyer guy, he's my friend too, because I know we did a lot of things. I was always coming upstairs to Rotimi Odusola, right?
No, Rotimi is after him. The guy that took over from Rotimi. It's from Cross River, Akwa Ibom.
Is it not the Yoruba guy, the Lego
guy?
No,
now. Sheson was the first guy. After Sheson, there was that Yoruba guy, that dark guy you're talking about. Then there's this other guy. This guy worked side by side with Sheson for a while.
Oh, the guy from Cross River. Okay, I know him. He wears glasses. Yes. I know him. Very funny guy.
Very funny guy. That's him.
I was thinking about the one that took, the one that came in from MTN to join us.
That dark one. No, that's the one after. This is the last one.
Oh, that's the last one. Yeah, he's now the director.
The funny thing, I just remembered now that the one that joined Sheson, the dark one, was actually the person that registered my company, F3G1. Yes.
Which one? The Kosiba guy?
The Yoruba one after Sheson, the dark one. Deji, the funny guy.
Oh.
Deji. Remember Deji?
I remember Deji. Lovely,
funny guy. He was one that registered F3G1. Uchendu, Imo, registered ZA12. So, like I said, this is who you have around you. And they were everybody was so supportive. Everybody that God, exposed me to was so supportive.
This is serious. Wow. Franco Kuobi says hi anyways.
Hey!
So why on the course of your entrepreneurial journey, would you say there was any time that you were at a point where you felt, oh, am I in the right space? Or do you think I should be doing?
I never did for one day, for 1 minute, for 1 second, for 1 nanosecond, because it was God that actually told me to step out into full-time entrepreneurship. And it was a one-on-one conversation. It wasn't anybody that came to tell me. I had this one-on-one conversation with God, and he told me he'd been trying to get my attention. It was time for me to step out, and and we had a long conversation. And at that time, I just almost mentioned where we were working. That place started becoming uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't deriving the joy that I used to have.
Yeah.
Mind you, I've been there at that time. It was already 9.5 years since I'd been in that place. So it was quite a while, And I started looking for work, but I did not know that God wanted me not to leave there and work somewhere else. So I would do very well, probably get to the last stage, and they told me, oh, they went for the other candidate and, stuff like that. Until I had this conversation with God, and he said to me, it's him, my assignment in there is done. It's time for me to move and all that. So I called my father, because my father, I was carrying my dad along with all my stories, at where I worked. I immediately God was done speaking with me at that time, right in the car, because I didn't step out of right in the car. I just dialed my dad, and I told my dad that I've decided to leave this place. And as I mentioned the name, something came out of my inside, out through my mouth. I had to confess it. I felt like there was deliverance going on. There was only me in the car. Nobody laid hands, but I felt, something come out of me when I said it. And in the course of the journey, because I know I clearly heard God say, leave, I have never regretted leaving. And that's not to say I've not gone through fire.
Yeah.
That's not to say I have not been broke or I've not gotten to situations where I'm like, oh no, But because I heard from God, I have never regretted leaving.
Yeah.
Same thing for my business partner and I, when we're going through, because you're working with, the friendship is different from when you're now working together. So of course we have different personalities and, and there was a day we were talking, we have regular meetings, and we were having one of these meetings, and I don't know where that question came from. And I asked her, I said, have you ever thought of, just calling it today? She said, many times. I said, not once. She said, I said, yeah. I said, not once. I said, you know why? I said, because when the idea came up and you were so gung-ho on us going into this partnership, remember I was a bit, I wasn't reluctant. I was slower because I needed to go and pray. And the truth is, I did not want to lose a friend in the course of business.
Yep.
So if the business didn't work out and we went our separate ways, we most likely may not have gone in a cordial or happy way. So I needed to hear God tell me, yes, this is the way, go in it. So that no matter whatever come across our way, because I know God is backing us, in front of us, leading us, guiding us, I'm at peace, So that's where I am. I've never, and it's for anyone, I'm hoping for anyone who's, the thing is, I remembered when I dropped my letter, many people were asking, where are you going? And I said, I'm not going anywhere. That God said that, so I had a few people call me and ask me in the office, that I had a friend, we have one of a former colleague then, his family had been in the States for years and he's still in Nigeria, and his family had been wanting him to go there. He's wanting them to come back.
Yeah.
But he was reluctant, and he's still very reluctant. So he had to call me that, he was like, help me. How did you hear? Of course, the fear of the unknown, family man, children. So he was really, really asking, and I remembered having a few of those conversations over the phone, face to face with many people who were also there. And when I went back to the office for one reason or the other, people would tell me, you mean there's life? You mean there's life after this? In fact, somebody wrote in the poster, if you go to my page on Facebook, somebody actually wrote it there. You mean there's, thank you for reminding us that there's life after this. Somebody else wrote in my LinkedIn profile to say, you encourage us so much. When we look at you, we are encouraged that when we leave here, we're not going to fail. And it's so touching that my life, God is using my life to actually encourage people, guide them and help them. And whatever story I have, once I say it, it really ministers to them.
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed, which is why I said it's a ministry. I didn't know that. I just knew that God was telling me, go here, and let's go, Lord. Here I am, send me.
Wow.
So that's how.
Wow. Oh, so one more thing before I even do anything now. Let me show us the journey as philanthropist. There were images you sent, but I want people to see that before I ask you any questions.
Okay.
How that journey went. How is that journey going? How that journey is going. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Are you seeing anything for me?
No, just your fine face.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So this is, can you
Okay.
see anything?
Yeah, I can.
Can you still
Okay.
see something?
Yeah, I can see now. I can see the
Uh,
image.
so this is you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You see the next one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who is this? Who is the little boy you're carrying?
My son from the home. His name is Raphael. And
Raphael.
if you look at him, if you look at the center, the small picture on the center,
Yeah.
yeah, that was him when we first met him,
This one?
August 2019.
Oh,
There's
okay.
a picture that has three small boys side by side in the middle,
Yeah.
bottom.
I,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was him when he first. So I went to the home that day, and can I tell the story now or later on?
Yeah, no,
Later.
no, no, go on, go on, go on.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
went to the home, and my friends and I were handling some projects at that time. So they were taking me around the place to see the work that had to be done.
Yeah.
So I would climb up. There's a computer room / library. There were another building. So I would walk past him. He was there on that little stroller. You can see he's there.
Yeah.
So I walked past him. So when I saw him the first time, I just assumed that he was one of the children of the staff, the kitchen staff that were preparing food, that cook for the children in the home. So I went up. I went past him a few times, but I noticed that nobody was going around him. He was just there on his own, isolated, lonely, and sickly. You could see him. He was pale, malnourished, everything. So I think I just got tired of walking past him. So I'd asked twice. They didn't answer me. So I stood. So the person that was taking me around, the coordinator at the time in the home, I now stood. I said, "Who is this child?" You know? And she now said to me that he had just been brought in fairly recently. His mom had just recently passed. She lost her mind. I don't want to say the other awful word. Yeah. And then she died. And single father, unable to cater, In fact, the man couldn't even take care of his family. So there was hunger, and so they had to bring him to the home for care. Yeah. So he had just been circumcised that day. And as you're looking at him, he was almost 2 years old then, but he looked like a 6-month-old baby.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So I picked him up, I held him against my chest. I said a word of prayer over him. I took pictures with him. I did a little video. And then I went back I went home and I shared it on the WhatsApp profile for my friends and I that support the home. Yeah. And I said to them, I just met this guy, and I just, gave them a story about this gentleman, and I wanted us to take his welfare up on board. And they said, of course, So I contacted the home, and I contacted the late owner then, and I spoke to her and I told her what we planned. So a number of us, because it's friends and family, like I said, so we have, people of different professions and, walks of life and all that. So the medical people in our midst gave us the advice to use what is called kwashi pap. Now, kwashi pap is millets and all those lovely things. And there's soya beans, there's shrimps, there's, what's the other one now? There's crayfish, all sorts of lovely things. And we should just begin to feed him on that alone aggressively for 6 months.
Wow.
So that was him in August, the very next month. And you can see there was already difference, between him then. And I look at him in October. But he hadn't started walking. All this while he still wasn't walking. So even though he had said that, he had put up some weight, he had some color, his hair had stopped being, brown. It was now black. You can see it was black and all that, but he wasn't walking. So I was still talking to the head of the home. I said to her that my friends and I, we had put up we had agreed to have him go to the hospital and do like a complete check and find out what the issue was. And she said to me that I should remember that every child who comes in, before they come in, they take them to the hospital and they do checks on them. And that I should trust her judgment. She's, been around this kind of, children for a while. So she knows everybody just has a delay. Everybody has their own timing. They're giving him the food, they're feeding him well, everything is fine. He's just going to take a bit. But later on, I found out that one of the young ladies in the home, she had just finished her university education. So she came home to wait for NYSC. So what she did was, at that time, because all the young adults were in school, so the ones that were at home were not really looking after the babies. So she took all the babies into her own room and started looking after all of them, about 3 or 4 babies at that time. And then, because she was having close care, she could see that his bones were fragile and brittle. So she asked the lady that, could they please get multivitamins and something for the bones for him? And I kid you not, once he started taking those meds, not too long after that, he started crawling.
Oh,
actually sent me, because I took interest in him. I was so worried. Even when I would voice it out in my group. I would say, I'm worried for this child. We'll talk about him, and and so they sent me his pictures and videos of. So because they knew I had personal interest in him, they were, they were giving me updates very regular. So I would get videos of him crawling, videos of him taking his footsteps and holding the wall, and and now he's everywhere. So that just before I did my presentation on Tuesday, he came, walked. Of course, he now walks. He walked in and said, "Good morning," my very shrilly voice. "Good morning, ma," and went on his knees because he's going around the ladies. They haven't taught him how to, prostrate like men. So he still kneels down. So we crowd bend down, and of course, everybody knows and calls him my son. So there you have it. That's him.
Oh wow. That's good. Oh, these are gifts that you.
These are gifts from people, from organizations, from my store, friends, family, strangers, because everyone in that group, is like-minded. So they also reach out to their own friends, their own family, and so it's a beautiful experience. And what they say to me on a regular is, they don't have the energy to do what I'm doing. They've wanted to do this for a while, but they don't have the time or the energy to do it. So they are so glad that I'm able to. Because when I tell them, "Oh, guys, you guys are amazing. Without you, there's no me." And they look, "You are doing it for us. We are also, we can't do it. You are doing." So it's a beautiful synergy. Let me just put it that way.
Wow. You guys also offer them this one too?
Oh, yeah. So what we do every quarter, we reach out to them. We visit them every quarter, or I visit every quarter. We give them food stuff every quarter. Right now, we started doing it on a monthly basis because people who used to support them before had started, human beings, they face their own challenges. So they're not they're not able to help. So what my friends and I decided to do was step up our game. So every quarter we reach out to them to say, what are the projects what's the most pressing need for the home? At that time, there was a renovation of the sick bay, there was the nursery, and there was a third thing. I can't remember what the third thing was. And so I told them to give us a list of what they would require. I'm sure you saw the list. So they gave us, headers and gave us all the prices. And once I just dropped it on my platform, people just started saying, "I'll do this, I'll do that." People just started dropping in money. And in no time, we had all that. So what they do for us, and what I make them do on a regular too, is also to give us pictures. If it's money we give, let's have receipts to show my people that, their money has gotten to where it's supposed to get to. If it's the renovations and updates, stuff like this.
Yeah.
So we get all the information. Yeah. And it's been 9 years, like you said. So they're no longer, we call them family now. We call them, the young ones in the home, we call them our siblings. And we are family to them.
Wow. And
I've grown from just being someone who goes there. Last year, I was nominated to be on the advisory board. Now, a few months after, nominated to be on the executive board of the home.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even give food stuff.
Oh, we do, definitely. Rice, beans, gari, semo, whatever they ask for, Indomie, we give, And what thing is, by default, if you go to an orphanage home, the first thing you think of carrying is a bag of rice. So most people always carry rice over there. And what happens is, because you're only taking rice, you're not taking care of the other protein and all the other important things.
Yeah.
So they'll just have a store full of rice and nothing else. But thanks to God, who always give me the wisdom to ask them, what do you need? So they explain to us that, what, they have more than enough of rice. What they need is, so most of the time now we just do beans and semo or gari or, whatever they ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. And this is
they have a Christmas party every end of year that Sheraton Hotel does on their behalf.
Oh, wow.
So this is actually in the hall of Sheraton Hotel. And then there's someone who every year, as her own contribution, she gives them the whole entire home. She buys them Ankara material. So everyone dresses in uniform. So you can see that. Oh, they are good dancers. Oh, they are really, really good dancers. Really good dancers.
Wow. And this, I decided to put this because I wanted to see how relatable you are with them. I wanted to show everyone that you actually do have fun with them.
Oh, yes, I do.
This was when you were trying to take a picture with all of them, but you didn't know. I'm not sure what you were trying to do.
I was just trying to have a view, and then they were telling me love and light. They were, he was telling them, give her some love and light. And I was like, what is that? So I had to watch them do it again. So they were snapping their fingers while giving me love and light.
Okay.
Can you see her? Can you see her?
It's really nice.
This one, they were actually telling my friends and I, thank you.
Oh, okay. And this is your team?
Yeah, well, this is, I was going to say this is me. The gentleman he's the person that took over from the late owner, CEO of the home.
Yeah.
All right. So he's the one that runs, he's the director of special duties at the moment. The lady is someone I got, she's a child psychologist. She works very well with and regularly with children and young adults. She has her own corporate organization. So one of the visits I did, I think it was at the top of the year, I got to meet, I had one-on-one meetings with a number of the children. And my takeaway was they kind of feel less of, how will I put it? They feel how I felt when I was growing up.
Yeah.
You understand? Mm-hmm. So I decided that even though there's so much pep talk you can give, I'm not a professional. I just come and give you my own life story, and I charge you up and I hug you and I pray with you, and you can call me, you can share your information with me. But I knew that it went beyond that. Yeah, because even for him, the gentleman also grew up in the home, was also one of the children products of the home.
Yeah.
And he resonated, he said to me that this is actually something that they were also experiencing in their own time.
Yeah.
They feel less qualified because, they're growing up in an orphanage home. So you need someone to come and tell them there's nothing different from you and that child that is with her mom and her dad in her own home, So I reached out to my friends and said, do you guys know anyone that can, a child psychologist that can talk to these children? So I got 2 names. And this lady, Mrs. Oyinda Adebowale, happened to be one of the names. Mm-hmm. And I reached out to her and, I just shared my vision with her that I wanted something that would be added into the curriculum of the children, not necessarily just come and talk to them and go, that it will now be part of their curriculum. Yeah. They would have an in-house counselor. They would have one-on-one sessions. They would have group sessions. So I just shared my vision and asked her to come up with a proposal. Then we were preparing for this seminar that happened last week, a week-long seminar. It's an annual seminar that happens, and it's one of the brainchilds of this gentleman. Even before he started leading the place, he had always been doing it, and the one for this year was becoming the best you. That was the theme, so we all had our own sessions. So I reached out to her to say, could she come and give us a session? And she willingly, came on board. And apparently she had actually come to the home on her own accord last year. She wrote a book last year, and said she just had a lead-in to come and give copies of the book to the home. So on her own, she found her way in the home. She gave the book. She had the session with them. Some people took her numbers, and and that was it. So when I started talking to her, she was like, "Oh, she now explained to me that she had been to the home before." So she gladly came. So on this day was the first day we were meeting, because I've been talking on the phone and chatting, but this day was the day we met.
Yeah.
And she had her session. She had just rounded up her session. There was a break time. So within the break time, we concluded our meeting. Then I had my own afternoon session.
Wow.
And the lady is someone from her staff, from her team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. And you said one of your team members won an award from the Fela Duote.
Some of the members of my group, like I said, they're from people from all walks of life. Large percentage of them are from where I've worked before, both places that and then my friends and my family and people that I know in course of my life's journey. And two of them on the group happened to be part of Fela Durotoye's 50th birthday
Planning committee.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So one of the initiatives that they had was to adopt 50 orphanages across Africa.
Wow.
So because two of them, they've been, on my platform from Jump, naturally they would nominate. In fact, both of them didn't know that they were on the platform together. So the first one reached out to me. The first one who is actually coordinating, that's the lady in white on the extreme right.
Okay.
Hawa Yamabo. Yes, I can mention her name and appreciate her. Hawa Yamabo. So she's been a friend from secondary school days. And she's not based, she lives out of town. So she quickly put in Ijamido's name as, she nominated Ijamido, and she called me and said, "Oh, I just nominated Ijamido. I hope they would consider it." And so while they have different platforms for, they have different initiatives that he did. He did so many different things. So on that particular one, they had their own WhatsApp platform. So she said, not too long after she nominated Ijamido, somebody now seconded to say yes, So she now said, "Oh, that somebody else here knows Ijamido, that I hope," not knowing that they were both on the platform on my WhatsApp group. You understand?
Yeah.
So it wasn't until later when I now because this was the call. This was the day of his birthday, the actual day of the celebration. He was having a thank you gathering with his own people. If you can see my picture right there at the bottom.
Yeah.
So while I was filming all the things that, of course, concerned myself and the home, so I could share with people on my WhatsApp platform. So I now saw the name of someone I logged in. I now saw the name of the second person, because that second person never told me anything.
Wow.
So I now reached out to her privately. So I know it's you. So she now had a good laugh that, so that's how come I got to know that. So like I said, people that on the group, they, on their own reach out, because it's not just me. It's people, just like-minded people wanting to give back to, to their community, to just do some good, and feel good about it. There's such a rush I get after we accomplish something. Yeah. So they went to visit the home. So I was the contact person, of course, when, we now scaled through whatever parameters they had. Yeah. We qualified. So I got a few calls from the person who was to cover the area where the home was.
Yeah.
They went to the home. They saw everything. It was as it said, said it was. And then they gave, the lovely things that they did. And the intention is that they will still continue. It won't just be a one-off. Like I said, he adopted the home as well. Wow. So in that time, they reached out to me to say, what are the key things? So I mentioned to them that there were a few of the young adults who had just finished some vocational training, who were needing money to set up into their business. So there's one of them like a hairdresser, and that one a trader, another gentleman, electrical tools for this, generator technology and all that. So so far they've done for 2 people, I believe, on their own. They've, blessed, giving money for people to start off their own businesses, set them up, rent a store, buy wares, and, and start off. Yeah.
So you slightly answered the next question I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
But I'll just give you a background of what I want to ask you before I ask you that question.
Okay.
So So the foundations, like I have an auntie that does something like this, something similar. Her name is Auntie Chichi. I'm calling her here. I don't know if she like it. She can keep me later. I don't care. She
Or
does,
die like die.
does the same thing. Auntie Chichi. There's this guy, Williams Chamber Foundation.
Okay.
There's Adeola Fayemu's Foundation, Kawa Foundation. There is Wodemaya. So you too. What I'm trying to ask is, even my pastor in church, she said something about a foundation today.
Okay.
There's something similar about you all. There's something similar. And that's something I'm still trying to learn. I won't say it here now because I want to fully learn that before I actually start talking about it. But one thing is, I noticed that every one of you have a story in relation to what you're doing now. Right? My question is, what you're doing now, apart from the fact that God is actually part of it, is it because of your good family background in trying to, not trying to accept people, in accepting people? Because you said that you didn't even know that some of those people coming were not your family members. That was the reason why I asked you about your background at the beginning of this conversation, because I was going to relate that to this question. So was it because of those events then that actually came about you being involved, solely involved in this new family? Or was it just because of God alone telling you to go into this?
Okay, I'll tell you a little story first before I answer that question.
Yeah.
I was at, while we were in this office, a few of our friends, one of them is Shola Balogun. Shola worked closely with me when she was a GMT and they were still doing their rotations. So she came to HR and she reported to me in HR. And she got to know me as, apart from, work, she got to know me, Funmi and Shola. We became, a little bit intimately, I'd like to say. And so even when she went back to her, department and, we continued being friends, really good friends. And there was a day she came to meet me out of the blues. She just came to my office, walked in very early. She had just resumed, probably dropped her bag and just came to my office and said to me that she was praying to God the night before. And she was telling God, God, this sister now, she's nice, she's this, she's that. Why is she not married? Why is, And that she was really, really in the place of prayer. And she said, God said to her, I have a plan for me. She happily came downstairs to come and tell me that God said he has a plan for me. And I said, thank you. Whether or not I knew that before, of course I felt very touched that, someone actually took me to God in prayer. Everything that we go through as human beings, every lesson, every experience is a lesson.
Yeah.
And we need to be attentive to them to get it when God is passing it on to us, because we are going to need it for something in the future.
Yeah.
There's nothing that happens to us by chance or in error. Yeah. Especially when it's God ordained. There's always a reason why something happens to you. All those things that I had, all those, all the experiences, all the people in our family and all that, has helped me perform the way I perform now because of the foundation that I had, When I clocked 40, I was in the place of prayer. I was actually out of the country and I was in an interdenominational prayer gathering.
Yeah.
Where we just, so we had a break in between and I sat down. I think we had finished the main prayer. So they were now doing one-on-one counseling. So I sat down with my iPad and I said to God, 40 is in a few months. This was end of November, early December, birthday is February. Yeah. So I said to God, what are we doing for the 40th? So I opened up the iPad and I, placed it on my lap and my two fingers were ready to start typing. And God started talking and I started typing. And amongst the things he said to me was that I was going to go to an orphanage. And it wasn't going to be a tick in the box. he now said, it's time for you to now to begin to give back.
Mm.
Not only was I going to go to an orphanage, I would now begin to go regularly. I would do things, most of the things that he told me then that I've done now or I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
There are times when I don't remember, but he takes me back to that because I wrote, say, write the vision down, make it plain.
Yeah.
So there's a place I wrote them down. So I would intermittently go back to that page and I would see all the things that I've just accomplished that God had told me to do years ago.
Yeah.
But of course, it's no time. The time is not for everything. There's time, turn by turn, and time. So he gave me the whole plan. So I came back to Nigeria, and my friend Lady JMK, who said hello initially. So I was talking to her, and I said, "This is what God said I should do. God said I should go to an orphanage. I don't know which orphanage. I don't want to go to Little Saints because everybody goes to Little Saints. I already said." So she said, "Don't worry." That she had another friend who had just gone to an orphanage recently, and she had helped the friend come up with a list of orphanages. So she already had a ready list of 6 to So like I said, nothing happens by chance. Why is it that this girl had the information just a few months back? So she just reached out and just forwarded me the list of 6 places. So I said, of course, Little Saints was there. I struck them out, Heritage, a few names that I believed were already being taken care of. I wanted to go to where it was not known, where that they really, really needed the help, because it wasn't just a tick in the box. It wasn't just showmanship. I wasn't going to do any paparazzi. I needed to go where people needed help. So it came down to 2 names. Ijamido Care Home for Abandoned Children in Songwater, which is not even in Lagos, and another place in K2 area, I believe, K2, yeah. So there's a lady one of the ladies in the office that we befriended, who will now come to my house to come and clean up.
Yeah.
So she said to me, that this Ijamido is on her way to work and back every day, that she could stop over for me and get a number or something, So she gave me so everything was just falling into place. There was no head banging. It was just God ordained. So I got the number and I called and I spoke to this woman that passed on in last year, November. And within 5 minutes, I kid you not, within 5 minutes, I knew that I wasn't going to go anywhere else. My spirit man just agreed. It was like peace. Even the way she was asking questions, she was asking me, what I was telling, everything was just, so up till this date, I've never called that second place.
Wow.
The other place. I've never, till now. Maybe I should just go and say hello and give them something, but I never called that second place.
Yeah.
I just, once I was done with that phone call, I said to her, so the other lady, the cleaning lady, went over there and I told her to send me a list of all their requirements, everything that they needed. So they had a long list and they put everything, of course, clothes, school fees, shoes, food, toiletries for the kids, baby food, everything. Just think of it, it was on that list. Even a car, they had a bus. They needed to either buy or repair. And this was the days of BlackBerry. We didn't have WhatsApp then.
Yeah.
So I reached out 2 ways. I wrote an email to all my friends, both office and personal. And I sent a WhatsApp, BlackBerry broadcast. And I said, I'm 40 soon. And I don't want a present. I don't want to do a party.
Yeah.
God says I should give back. So I want to do this. This is the list of everything that they want. Just let me know what you can do. And I kid you not, immediately I sent the broadcasts on WhatsApp, on BlackBerry. Instantly, my phone, just coming down. I'll do this, I'll do that. Everybody, even the things that I'd said I was going to do for myself, people had taken them. Everything. The only thing we didn't do on that list was buying the bus.
Wow.
And God gave us so much favor. Then my friends, because I knew I couldn't do it on my own. I wanted to do something, but I knew everything that was needed to be done, I couldn't do it on my own. So I reached out to everybody. And then my friends who were helping me do the shopping, JMK, like I said, Jumoke, and she would go to and my business partner then, who was just my friend then, we hadn't started the ZA12 then. And, all the things they were trying to buy for me, she said, oh, she'll take up feeding. How many people were in the home? 100 and something. She said, okay, she'll cook for 200 people. She did fried rice and chicken, jollof. Nice, not show, not crazy, real fancy food. So when she goes and gets all her drinks, while she's, say, oh, we're doing this for the offering. Oh, really? Okay, take that extra one. Take that. JNK, when she goes to the market, she was the one that was buying all the bag of rice, bag of this. So oh, okay, orphanage. Oh, add that. We just got people, strangers, giving us everything just to confirm that God was in this thing, So I've had people who will say, oh, I got your number. Someone says, you are very good at this thing. Can you talk to me? I want to open an NGO. I want to open an office. I'm like, it's the grace of God that brought me thus far. There's no formula. I had no learning. I had no foundation. God just said, do this. And I said, yes, I am, send me. I'm willing, And when you are in his will, he makes provision for. So even before you get there, he has already made everything. There's nothing that we have wanted to do on that group that we've not been able to do. Nothing. And I'm talking about millions. Sometimes I would just open my account and I would just see someone has dropped some zeros. And they won't tell me because we've built 9 years of credibility.
Yeah.
So when we started from just giving the home 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, after we've done all the food stuff, I would come to the groups and give accounts and tell people, okay, this is how we spent it, taxi or whatever it is we did. So people were asking me, have you ever been accused of stealing money before? I'm like, no. Why? Because of the way you're so detailed. I said, I don't want to wait for anybody to accuse me.
Yeah.
Before I'm giving, Yeah. And those people that were asking me those questions are still in the group till tomorrow. Because they saw that, they saw the consistency, they saw the authenticity and whatever grammar you want to use.
Yeah.
And over a period of 9 years, and they're still there. And a friend of mine was, oh, let's do an NGO, let's open up a page. I said, God did not send me. The one that God sent me to do is what I'm doing now. He didn't tell me to open page. He didn't tell me to open account or, open NGO.
Yeah.
He just told me go to the orphanage and be consistent there. And that person said, why is he only there? Why don't you go to that place? I said, no, because there's still work there. People are still dumping children every day. The children are growing. There's a lady that you saw me standing by her.
Yeah.
When I went to the home, she was 4 years old. Now she's 11, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's, from the first day, she took to me, she took my bag, she took my phone, she was pushing everybody away from me. I call her my first daughter. Her name is Esther. And she can walk to the gentleman. And in fact, she walked to him and told him that she wanted to talk to me on the phone. And he told her, don't worry, Auntie Funmi is coming. So when I came in, we had our meeting. She gave me her demands. I told her, no problem. All the things you want, I'll do for you. I just want to see that your results are great. So when I sent for her school results, I wasn't impressed. And I told her that all these things, I can't do all these things for you with this kind of result. It's as if I'm rewarding you for being bad.
Yeah.
I spoke to her in first term. I was at the home on Tuesday. I saw her third term results. It's a very, very far place from what I saw when I had the conversation. She has improved greatly, And I told her, I said, all those things you're asking for, I will do them, but I need to see better results from you,
Wow.
And when I asked her, she said, when I read, I don't understand. I need someone to explain to me. So it's one of the reasons why I said we got this lady to come on board and just come and talk to them, because there's some places you don't know how they feel. Maybe they feel inadequate. And a few of them came up to me after I had my session to say, they had problems in making friends, they had problems in blending. So hopefully this lady, the relationship that they were established with this lady, under her tutelage, they would come up better. They'll come into their own. They'll be better. They'll be happier. And of course, God will take control in all of it. So that was how I started going to the home, and when I went there, and my first day there, it was just, in fact, there was a time I had to face the wall, and I bawled. I was shaking I was crying because I had not seen it like this. I didn't understand what God was telling me, And even after the lady passed on, some of the things, God won't give you the whole picture. He just gives you snippets. And then you go back to him to say, okay, God, I've done this. And he'll tell you, okay, go like this, go like that. So in all the 9 years, the picture I have of the whole vision now, I didn't have it when I started. You know, and I'm sure I don't have all the pictures. There's still some other places that we're going to. We're still on a journey, you know. But you know, it's been a beautiful journey.
Quite a lot of pictures.
9 years, beautiful journey.
Yeah. So in what you're doing, is it because of the orientation from your parents?
I want to believe that it helped me very quickly. Hit the ground running. Yeah, my background.
Connecting to them, you talking to them, you understanding their plight.
And the truth is, I just came and I just share my story. So even when it's time for me to have formal conversations, you know, I reach out into my own Pandora box. I bring out something that resonates very well with them, and immediately they're able to connect very easily, you know, just to drive home the fact that there's nothing different from them. The only thing is that they are growing up in a home, in an orphanage home, and other children are growing up in. I said to them that even some of the benefits that they have, I didn't have it. Like, for example, big one, very obvious, pocket money. My parents didn't bring us up with the, we didn't have the culture of having pocket money as growing up kids, you know. For those of us that did universities outside of home, when they bought your provisions, they probably just give you enough money for transport or maybe going and coming. And that was it. I didn't have pocket money, you know. And I said to them, I know you guys get pocket money. So there's some things that you guys are benefiting from in the home that some of us never did, you know, benefit from.
So what's the next project that you guys are planning for?
School fees. No, it's back to school now. Back to school. Back to school. So the one we just wrapped up now is this lady, because we will be the one that will be picking up her monthly, because of course it's not going to be free now. The psychologist, she gave us a really good discount, but of course that's where she actually gets her. She's a family person, you know. She has to feed her family, feed her staff, so she needs to get paid. So so we're going to be picking up our monthly tab. And then the major project we have now is school fees in September. We have people in university. We have people that had just resumed. We have about 4 of them that just, just went to school for the first time. We have a few that just graduated. We have a few that in their final year and all that. And then secondary school people, primary school. So we have 100 and something children to take care of.
What do you see in terms of the future for these kids? What do you see for them?
Bright and beautiful. Is it not God? It's God now. It's God.
Oh my God.
It's not God. Because I have one of my friends thanks to one of my friends on the platform, she's based in the UK, and she linked up her church. And the missionary arm of her church has also adopted. In fact, they take care of 6. They pay for school fees of 6 people.
Wow.
Young children, yes. So even when the last time I went to hang out with her, I went to their church. I met the minister. She took me around. They took me around. They of course, the big church, established church. So they actually have their own missions. They have a building where they house homeless people. They give them food, give them clothes. You know, fancy, great idea. You know, things that I probably would, when we get better, we can begin to adopt in the home. So we have people like that who just adopt the upkeep of the children. Yes. And so what I did was, when we needed the school fees earlier on this year, when we needed to pay, was it last year? I think it was late last year, we needed to pay school fees. Wow. I had the leading to reach out to on social media, because before then it was just my WhatsApp group and people that know me. 1 or 2 people that. So, but I did a broadcast on Facebook, I did a broadcast on Instagram, I did another one on LinkedIn. Okay. And because of that, I had people who were sharing the information. Strangers were asking me to add them, because on LinkedIn you can't chat onto you. So, and I had to add people. They were asking me questions. People started giving. So people were asking for either my account or the account of the home. So it depends on what you want to do. So some people actually pay on a monthly basis, just drop some money in the home, and then send me a message. For me, I've dropped this in the home. Some people joined my WhatsApp group. Some people give on a monthly basis. Some people give on a daily basis. Some people give on an annual basis. So it just depends on whatever works for you and your own pocket.
It's been great. Before I allow you to say your final words, though, I just want to say thank you to Chika the Chukwukewebujo. That's my sister. This is my sister. Then my bishop's cousin, James R. Peoples. Then Bola Lamidi. And there's this other guy, Adebowale Jamiu Adekunle. Do you know him? He said, "Well done for me."
Thank you. Thank you.
You don't know? You don't remember him? I don't want to put your leg out.
I'm sure I would know him. I'm sorry. I'm sure I would know him. Sorry.
And thank you to Lady JMK, Joy Falola.
Thank you, ladies.
Tochukwu Ndoku, that's my friend from high school.
Okay.
Damoski, that is Damola Adelabu. And Frank Ukuobi, and Vivian Akindele.
Oh, hello, Vivian.
Yeah.
I think she was the one that asked that wasn't not you. Or, I think it was her. It was her that asked.
I know Vivian. Vivian was she would call IT. Obina. You have Vivian. Even
thank you, Vivian.
I remember.
Is she there?
No, she's not here. Yeah, I just remembered one event with Inku.
Okay.
I think it was that department, the CR department, they always bring something fun too. There was one time we gave blood. There was one time we gave to the orphanage. Because we're talking about the orphanage.
Oh yeah. I remember even when Tehila crew. She actually invited them for their is it Alabanza, their program they used to have.
Oh yeah, okay.
One of the very first ones. I linked her up with them. So the children actually went to perform. So when she got back to the office, she said, God bless you. She just gave me her God bless you. They were beautiful, they were wonderful, they were this, they were that. So it's actually network. Network does a lot. Your network, who you surround yourself with really, really helps, because now if you need something, you first of all look at who can help me within before you now begin to think of outside. So you're really blessed when you have. I was listening to, Joshua Selman, Apostle Joshua Selman, and he says, this was the message for last Sunday. He says, if in your life you really, really need help, for example, you need someone to give you, not even borrow you, you are in a financial, or whatever problem, and you don't have anybody that you can call to say, please, I need this, you're seriously in trouble. You need to go and pray. You understand? And honestly, while he was saying that, I began to look around me. Okay, who do I have? Go. Okay, I try. I'm okay. It's true. You really need to. It's. You don't know the benefit of them until you get to that. That place of need when you really need it. So you need to cultivate that habit of being a friend. Like when the children were saying to me, "Oh, I don't have friends. I don't know how to. I stay on my own." Blah blah blah. I said to them that, are you friendable? First of all, yeah, because guess what? You're saying you're shy and you're in your corner. That person might also be shy and in his or her corner as well. So if nobody makes a move, you will die friendless.
Yeah.
So you need to actually, make the move sometimes. Step out of your comfort zone. You can't be in your comfort zone all the time. Step out. Yeah. Then when you get born, okay, now just like you say, okay, I've tried. But not that I never tried at all.
Yeah. You just preached to me though, but that's okay. So
okay, so you drop your offering. How to pronounce there's no I in my surname, so you know what to do.
I understand. I know what to do.
I have Zelly. So
oh my God. Oh man, it's been fun today for me. It's been fun. I really enjoyed today. We actually planned for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We stayed for 1 hour 37 minutes. So
dude, can you imagine?
I am so sorry I took so much of your time.
No. I'm here.
Yeah. So do you have any final words?
Thank you for noticing whatever it is that you notice when you reach out to me. for us to have this conversation. It's very heartwarming. It's very encouraging. For anyone who doesn't know about my little ministry and my project with these orphans, and you're interested, please reach out. My YouTube channel is Funmi Suleman.
Thank you.
My Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, of course, they're all my names. Funmi Suleman, and you can reach out. Of course, those of you have my number, just reach out to me and let's talk, please. These children need your help. It's not a one-off thing, so we're not going to ask you to start, whatever is comfortable with you, because these people that reach out and help, they also have their own families, they also have their own needs, so little drops of, there's 170 of us on the WhatsApp platform, in addition to other people that support us outside the WhatsApp platform. So imagine if 170 are dropping a little thing on the regular. You can imagine the kind of impact that we're going to have in the lives of these children who didn't ask to be born, didn't ask for their parents to die, didn't ask for, for the life that they are living now, but they need your help. And God bless you as your support. Thank you so much.
Yep. And the orphanage. I was trying to put something out, so yeah. So hopefully they reach out.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much for me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So one thing I learned from this whole conversation is always connect to God. He will always give you the next step.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And your journey is actually part of your future, basically. So because you said something about your background and how it affects today.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there's a lot that I learned from you just living your life. Basically, there's a lot that I learned from back in the day then up to now. I really do appreciate you.
How we connected. Remember the day you came to mine and we had a 1 hour conversation, yourself and Dami?
Even before that time, there was one time I came to the office where you, Mizuzo, Valerie, that's what you guys, you sit.
Our office.
Leadership team. You guys. So I think I came. It was one of those calls because we would tell these people, always log your ticket. Nobody will agree to log ticket. They will just call IT like that. I think it was Mizuzo that called me or something. I think it was either Valerie or Mizuzo. So I came and I said hi. And you were like, I think you were like, say hi, say it louder. They won't answer you. You have to say it louder. So I now said hi, and everybody now, I was like, oh, you didn't hear me when I said hi the first time. I was like, so that was one of the first impressions that I had with you. Right? It was you would, because I came there, I've never met you guys before.
Okay.
But how you guys got to know my name and she called me up, I don't even know how my relationship with, I don't know. But the fact is that I know people would just call me up and I would just say, okay, fine.
And it's appear. I
would just come. You understand? But it was when that first impression, I was like, okay, I think, okay, that's cool. That was when, then after we had that 1 hour conversation.
And I remembered when your dad passed.
Yeah, when my dad passed.
I think that was what really made us closer, because we now had a deep one-on-one and I took you through my own experience and, yeah.
Yeah, that was tough for me. But
I
was trying to tough it out.
There's no one who loses a parent, who loses anybody, and has a. It's you just put off front, yes, but there's a tender spot.
Yeah. So I mean, I appreciate those times. Should we use this time to appreciate those guys? Is there any name?
Oh yes. Everybody.
Start with your I mean, people you remember.
Everybody. There's no one that hasn't blessed me or impacted my life. Even people that thought they were doing me bad.
Yeah.
But it's turned out to be a blessing for me. I really appreciate everyone, and that's why I don't hesitate to mention the names. Like the names I was mentioning, it was intentional because they are part of my life's journey. Mm-hmm. My siblings, like I said, because of the foundation that my mom gave to us, we have a really, really very, very close-knit relationship. We talk, of course, we fight, but they're the first people that I would reach out to in in whatever situation, and glean from them, glean from their knowledge. And even my younger brother as well, my older brother, and even my journey in entrepreneurship. The three of them were very early became entrepreneurs before I did. I was the last 9 to 5 person.
Wow.
So tomorrow, my younger brother has a way. If he needs something to be done, I'm more of a go and do it yourself person. Yeah, or get it, But my younger brother, he has people. He has, he will just call me, or at home. Okay, if somebody's coming to drop something for me, I send somebody, and he has, even when he's out of town, he learned that from my mom. My mom always had someone like a boy Friday ago, that could do all those. My brother, out of all my siblings, inculcated that thing very, very well, and he has really good relationships with all these people that, they respect. They don't even call him his name. They call him Mr. Funshaw, they respect him so much, and he just has the way with people, My older brother too, my older brother would be on the streets talking to his wife, would be like, oh my God, he's at it again. But he was everybody's friend. He would talk to the guy on the street. He would talk to the gate man. He would talk to, because you don't know where you will need these people. When I'm opening the gate, they'll be running to auntie, I'm opening for you. Not because of me, but because of my brother, The ones that are Muslims, Salah time he buys them ram. He will buy them, I'm telling you, I'm like, you haven't bought me ram, you're buying this man ram. But the power of relationships, you don't know where, again, Pastor Suleman was saying, make friends with everybody. If you have police or army, because you don't know when you will need these people. Establish relationships with people. Relationships very, very key. And honor people, value them, honor them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I thank so much.
Before I begin to preach again, drop another offering again. Thanksgiving.
I'll drop. I was telling to you. So I just want to use this video to appreciate the family from where we worked. Everyone, anyone I see or hear that. There's this friend when I came to the US, there's this one of my friend. He worked with that organization, and somehow we just became friends. We have our own guys, but we're friends, you guys.
Standard.
Yeah. So I thank everyone that I met in that organization. It's been a whole new ball game outside the organization. Things that I learned from them.
Yeah.
On one and as a team.
Yeah.
It's been a whole new different process. The way I see things before that organization, because I came in from youth service and I joined. So the way I saw things after that organization, even relating or interacting with people while progressing my journey in IT, my base was very solid from school and into the organization, and even the people itself. There's no one that I see today that I won't hug or say hi to. If ones that live closer to me, I don't. Valerie lives. I don't know if Valerie will like the fact that, but I called Valerie's name. So Valerie is very close. So I even I've forgotten the other guy, the sales guy's name. So, but I really appreciate everyone. It's really been a blessing. So anytime, any day, I will always celebrate everyone from that organization because of what I learned from that, from my beginning days in IT.
Foundation.
Yeah, my foundation. Yeah. So it's been a good time. We have to go off now, people, because we can't stay more than this. It's been a yeah. So Funmi, I would send you what I need to send you from. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Don't
and
go.
I pray for you that this journey that you are on, this to you experience, that the Lord will, whatever He has, planned for you, you will bring it to come to pass in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
He would give you people. He will give you a great support system in this ministry. Everyone that you need, everything you need, every relationship, every person, every open door.
Amen.
You need for this journey to launch you into your destiny. The Lord will provide for you in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Amen. And we will see you and we will say, this is the Lord's doing. It's marvelous in our eyes.
Amen.
In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So we're going to go off live. We're going to